This is Gabriela on the scene today with Talk Network Radio. We have a real treat for you just around the corner, and that is Empowered Living with Jeff Byrd. Jeff is the owner of Jeffrey Byrd Coaching, and he will be coming to you weekly to teach you more about empowered living.
Hello and welcome. This is Jeff Byrd with Jeffrey Byrd Coaching, and this is Empowered Living. Today, because of the coronavirus, we're not meeting in the spot that we usually do, so we're trying a little something different here. So I might look a little grainier and not on the beautiful view that we usually have because I'm in my office here. And but we wanted to keep this going and keep the momentum going and keep the positive thoughts and the empowerment coming. So I'm so glad that you joined in. And what I'd like to just talk about today, it's something that's been on my mind all day today, really. And it's soaring with perspective. Soaring with perspective. And, you know, our perspective is a game changer. What perspective we're looking at things from. And, you know, I was reminded of some years ago, I was getting ready to go on a trip. So I had all my bags packed and got the cab over the house. And I had to get up early in the morning. I don't know, probably 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, something really early to get to the airport. And I tell you, it was the last day on earth that I would have wanted to travel. It was pouring buckets of rain. It was dark skies. Of course, it was night too, but I mean, it was just cloudy and just cold. It was just a miserable day for traveling. But, you know, I had the flight booked. So, of course, I got the cab, got all the bags in, got over to the airport. We're dragging the luggage out, trying to hoist it over the puddles and up onto the curb and, you know, stay moderately dry. And got everything in, got checked in, got up to the waiting gate and was there for a while. And finally got on the plane and we taxied down the runway, watching the rain streak across the window. And we finally got airborne. And, you know, within about 30 seconds, maybe, less than a minute, I think, a miracle happened. And I looked out the window. I love looking out plane windows. And it was the most beautiful day. It was bright sunshine, just gorgeous blue skies and perfectly white clouds. And the sun was reflecting off of the clouds. And it was so brilliant and bright. And I was like, wow, was it really just a minute or two ago that I was sitting in the rain on a gloomy, overcast, cloudy day in an airport on a day that nobody wanted to be out in? Because this is really gorgeous up here. And I thought about that. I thought, well, you know, the only thing that changed was my perspective. Same day, just looked at, and the same clouds, just looked at from a different perspective. And I thought, wow, you know, that's really a major life lesson. And this has been years ago that dawned on me. And, you know, I have a very dear friend. And 2 years ago, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. Well, if that weren't bad enough, she also, in that same year, she ended up having heart issues, kidney issues, a sepsis infection at the chemo port, a colostomy. And boy, these things were just coming one after the other after the other. And it was like, good heavens, what's going to happen next? And when we would talk to her, though, she was honest. She didn't have her head in the sand. She would tell us what was going on, but she stayed very hopeful and very positive and with a good attitude, especially considering the circumstances. And at one point, my wife, Angie, she asked her, she was talking to her and she chatting with her on Messenger, and she asked her, she's like, how do you keep such a good attitude and stay so hopeful during these times? This is the craziest thing I've ever heard. And my friend responded back to her. She said, you know, she said, I've got another friend who's a cancer survivor. And she told me that the only thing you can do during times like this is to focus on every positive thing you can find. If it's the fact that you've got food, if it's the fact that you're in shelter, if it's the fact that there's some caring medical people around you and team staff. She said you just have to focus on every single positive thing. The fact that there's people that care about you, that you have friends around that are supporting you and praying for you. Just any positive thing you can think of, you have to focus on. And now I'm super happy to say, we prayed for her for a long time, and she stayed positive and focusing on the right things. And I'm super happy to say that here, 2 years later, she has no evidence of disease. All those things healed up. Because at one point, they even told her daughter, said at the local hospital, they said, we can't treat her here. We have to fly her up to Richmond, and you need to say goodbye now because you may never see her again. So it was extreme. This was extreme, but she continued to focus on the positive. And no matter how it ended up, even if she hadn't made it, which we're so grateful she did, even if she hadn't, at least she would have been in a positive frame of mind, right? And so it's that perspective. And there's a book that I really like. It's called The Pursuit of Happiness by Sean Achor. And in that book, he names some things that are characteristic of the happiest people in the world. And one of the things he states is that they look at a situation from the most perspectives possible, and then they choose the one that's the best. And I think that's just brilliant. It's like I can look at what I've lost, or I can look at what new opportunities may lie ahead, for example, right? And we've all got plenty of stuff negative that we can probably think of right now, or that we can look at from a negative perspective. But what if we look at it from a different perspective? What if new opportunities come up? What if new doors open? What if new friendships emerge? What if new thoughts and ideas come up? And so it's helpful to look at things from this perspective. And, as a person of faith, I started thinking about this, and it occurred to me that, all the stories that I really like in Scripture, they all started with seemingly impossible situations. Joseph, one of my favorite guys, he was falsely accused and thrown in a dungeon for we don't even know how many years, over 2 full years, and he was innocent before God got him out and made him the ruler of Egypt. The nation Israel were slaves in Egypt for 400 years, right? Daniel was falsely accused and thrown into a den of lions, hungry lions, for the night. Jesus was on the cross. There were all of these seemingly impossible situations, but they just seem that way because we only have a perspective that's very, very narrow and limited in time. God has a much bigger picture perspective. He's like flying above the clouds, looking at the sunshine when we're on a rainy day, right? It's the same day. He's just looking at it from a different perspective and from a different viewpoint. And it's like I thought, Forrest Gump, he was talking about Lieutenant Dan, and he said, and just then God showed up, when the storm came, when Lieutenant Dan was so mad about his surviving the war. And, it's that way. We have this little perspective, and then God shows up. And all those stories, it said that they're all written to encourage us, to enhance our faith, to strengthen our perseverance, and to provide us with hope. And so it helps to look at life from a different perspective. As a faith-based person, or just as somebody choosing the most positive perspective that you can think of, you can't do that without being better than you were to start with. And so that's what I would encourage you to do. Whatever your situation, whatever we're going through, we've all got some tough times right now. These are difficult days, but they can produce new and good things. Friendships, again, hope, faith, good ideas. So whatever it is, I encourage you to just take some time and look at those things that are difficulties right now, and then try to find as many perspectives as you can, and then figure out which one you think has the most positive mindset associated with it, and go with that one. Now, if I can help you think through that, feel free to reach out to me at jeffbyrdcoaching.com. That's Jeff and Bird with a Y, B-Y-R-D, Jeff at jeffbyrdcoaching.com, and it's up on the screen if you're watching. And just let me know what's going on, and see if we can think together. I'd love to be a thinking partner with you. But we need to find those best perspectives, and the most positive perspective that we can, and the most hope-filled perspective that we can. I encourage you, if you haven't done it in a while, blow the dust off that Bible maybe, and read through some of those stories, because the very reason they were written is to encourage us and give us hope. And there's many other modern day stories too that show that too, where people trusted, they believed in the right thing, they kept moving ahead, and good things happened. So one of my favorite phrases these days is something good is getting ready to happen. Just because I can't see it only means that there's something good I haven't seen yet. It's getting ready to come. It's on the way. I hope you'll stay encouraged and stay believing with me, and keep walking the road together. So thank you so much. I'm so glad that you tuned in and spent a few minutes with me. And until next time, God bless you. Again, I'm Jeff with Jeff Byrd Coaching, and this is Empowered Living. Take care.